feeling's right.
Hello everyone, this is your always tactful host, Pendy.
And this is Paul, also known as EastX Twitch.
Did you know we are hitting an important milestone with this episode?
Really? Which milestone is that?
We're hitting episode 50 of our Adventure of Dai reviews of the anime.
That means we're halfway through the anime.
Yes, the anime. Indeed, and I thought in honor of both Choose and the DQ5 hero's ability to recruit monsters, I'd become a monster wrangler myself.
Interesting. Did you wrangle up some listeners?
Now, hold on a minute.
Maybe you should wrangle up some hair.
Hey now, you know that grew back.
Part of it did. Okay, I'll stop teasing you. Which monster can you wrangle?
Well, I can wrangle up a slime.
Nice to meet you. I hope you're all having a terrific day.
That's cute. What else? Anything a little more powerful?
Oh, I know. How about a golem?
Golem smash! Smash all the things! Smash! Smash!
You can control the monsters you summon, right?
I may have forgotten that part of the training.
Who are you? Did you monster nap golem? Me smash you!
Okay, Mr. Golem, hold on a minute. Here's some meat to calm you down.
No, you fool. You gave him rotten meat. That's going to make him angrier.
Ah! Smash Pendy!
Oh, crap. I'm out of here.
While Pendy runs for his life, I'll go ahead and welcome our audience to Tactfully Dai, a Slime Time podcast spinoff that covers just about everything in the world of Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai, and the Dragon Quest Tact mobile game.
That's right. We'll talk about the latest and greatest with Dragon Quest Tact first.
Good. I'm ready to wrangle some tact.
We are in the middle of the much anticipated Dragon Quest V event, the true Dragon Quest V event.
This event can bite my beluga.
Why do you say that?
No reason. Anyway, we recently started part 2 of this 3-part event.
So far, we've gotten Pancraz as the free S unit and Percy as the free A unit. The Dragon Quest V protagonist, called the legendary Monster Wrangler in this game, along with the twin heroes Little Perry and Machen, are the banner units.
Before we talk about pulls, let's bug our guildmate Mesmeron and discuss the character names. The Dragon Quest V hero has previously been known as Luca, which is a pretty good name, even if that animated movie where he was called Luca was terrible. Shouldn't they have called him Luca here?
So, of course, as always, I disagree with you about your story being terrible, but that's really a loaded question. It's Luca and the audio dramas and novelizations along with your story. I believe it's Luca and your story because they wanted to make a callback to the novel and avoid using the actual default Dragon Quest V game name as it's revealed in the movie that he is not actually the Dragon Quest V protagonist for spoiler reasons.
What a boneheaded reveal. Sorry, go on.
So there was actually a lawsuit against Square Enix and the movie company Toho that was in the production company for the movie Your Story from the author of the Dragon Quest V novel because she claimed that the movie using that name was lifting her idea that she conceived, that she came up with the name Luca and that they lifted that from her. She was suing for 2 million yen and a public apology. So this was back in 2019 and I'm not sure how that case was resolved. I don't know if she got anything out of it. I wasn't able to research it beyond the actual lawsuit being pursued. Now, the default game name for him in the game is actually Madison in English and Abel in Japanese. This is the name Pancraz wants to give you in the opening scene. But of course, like all Dragon Quest games, you can name him whatever you want.
Well, I forgive you for being wrong about the movie, but Madison is not a boy's name, whatever.
It can
Abel.
be. It's I've seen it for both, mostly for girls, but it can be for boys too.
You're thinking of Mads Mikkelsen. I don't blame you. He's a pretty good actor. But yeah, like Madison, Abel, both of those names are better than Legendary Monster Wrangler to me. Like, just pick a name and settle on it. I mean, heck, they gave names to Paranel and the other guy, Kanik.
Well, I
Kanik
mean,
and
more
Moonbrook.
importantly, they gave names to like actual protagonists, like Solo and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean it's a valid argument. I can see where you're coming from.
It's a cop-out. It's a shame. So, as for the kids, the hero's son has been called Cooper, Rex, and Alice, which again sounds like a girl's name, but that's all right. Here, his name is Perry. Is Perry a good name or is it just a verb?
Both.
Well, I don't love the name, to be honest. I think again most of those other names are better. Maybe not Rex. The hero's daughter, meanwhile, has been called Annie, Tabitha, and Poppy. Now I know they can't call her Poppy because of the crazy European singer lady, but did they really have to call her Madchen or Madchen though? Isn't that like losing a bet?
So this all goes with the Dragon Quest V English localization trend for the game. As I mentioned before, the legendary monster wrangler, your favorite name apparently, has been previously localized as Madison. His mother has been localized as Madalena or Mada, and this character continues the treatment with Madchen or Madchen, because I have no idea how to pronounce names. That's my thing. I'm sorry. I looked up that Chen translates to dawn or morning, which makes sense, as she has a very warm and friendly personality in the game. So you have Madalena, or Alina can be translated to ray of light. Madison, while the sun is spelled S-O-N, but probably maybe still infers a S-U-N type reference. Thereby, you have 3 generations of characters that all have a theme of light. You'll see that kind of localization themes in other Dragon Quest games as well. For example, in Dragon Quest XI, most recently, most if not all the characters that were born in Heliodor or Cobblestone are named after various gems and stones, Jade being the most obvious if you think back to some of the names. Now that we have the names issue cleared up, or maybe more muddied, how have your pulls been so far on the Monster Wrangler, Perry, and Madchen?
Well, first, let me point out that Jade is a cool name, unlike Perry or Madchen. But anyway, I have gotten Luca, the Monster Wrangler, with 4 hearts, which is 1 heart from shards, 1 heart from a rainbow ticket, and just 2 the old-fashioned way, you know?
Nice.
That was pretty expensive. I would love to not have to sink any more money into hunting down a 5th heart because I'm not guaranteed the pity reward for a while, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do I want to spend $300 more to try to get another heart? That doesn't sound very appealing.
No.
Wouldn't it be nice if the tickets, you know, what do we get? Tact points. Wouldn't it be nice if tact points and tickets worked the way they were supposed to work, and like I could occasionally get a banner unit from those things? If my investment in buying the metal cards to earn more tact points would actually pay off once this year, you know, maybe just once. I just, it's a fantasy of mine, but I think it would be nice for those things to ever work out for me, because it has been so long that I cannot remember ever getting anything from them. Like I really need to stop buying the metal cards. I'm rewarding them for punishing me. It just doesn't make any sense.
You know what? I've been trying to save money recently, and I've done the same thing. I stopped with the metal cards as well. I will still buy the special event metal cards because those are extremely cheap, and they come with like 50,000 or 100,000 gold, and those are a steal. That's like a really good deal for this game. But like the regular metal cards, it's just a whole lot of gems for mostly a whole lot of nothing unless you get lucky.
Yeah, and it's not that I never have over the course of the years the game has been out, but it has been so long. I really think they're dicking us over too much with the odds. If I'm not getting something like, say, every 3 months or so from tickets, you know, like the shop tickets or at least regular old tact point tickets, then why am I doing it? It's not good. So
no,
that's
I don't blame you. I do not blame you one bit.
So anyway, beyond that, I did the 3 times pull on the shared banner for the boy and the girl, and unfortunately my pulls were total crap. I didn't get a banner unit from any of the 3 pulls. So and then we have another guy in our guild, you know, a guy who notoriously has better luck than everyone else. He got like 2 from 1 pull.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, I mean,
you can call him out on this podcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, he hasn't done but that's the thing. He hasn't done anything wrong. Like that's how it should work for everybody.
No, we should punish him for his good luck.
It's just like, gosh, yeah. So I'm in a bit of not a total bad luck spell, but not. I mean, like it would have been nice to get one of them from one of those 3 pulls. You know, I didn't expect to get it from all 3 or anything, but to get at least one would have been swell. But at least it still wasn't a waste of money to buy the big gem package, because for the 3rd pull, for doing the 3rd pull, you get a ticket and then you get to pick the boy or the girl, right? So yeah, I knew that going in, and I used it on the boy since he's the higher ranked unit, and then I was able to get just enough hero shards together to get him a heart. So that's where I am on those units.
Yeah, it's actually been really nice with those two new banners with how they work them out, because you have basically for two different banners, you have the guaranteed S pulls, with the third pull being the guaranteed banner unit, which is nice. I like seeing something like that you know you're going to get something out of it, and potentially even more if your luck is pretty good. So I did that for the twins, and I also did that for the revival banner on S-Start. Each of those had two guaranteed S pulls, which were paid gems, and then the third one, in the case of the twins, like it was a guaranteed S, but you would or wouldn't get the twins, but you got a card at the end where you could take it and then choose which one do you want. And with the S-Stark one, it was just the third pull was just, hey, we're straight up going to give you at least one S-Stark on this third pull. So I did that too.
That is nice of them, definitely.
Yeah, so that was good. I got my S-Stark up from 3 to 4 hearts, so he's pretty meaty right now. Yeah, we'll talk about him later with how good of a blossom that he is. So with the Monster Wrangler, I did the paid pull. I got lucky and I got him on that. I believe I got another one on tickets. So I actually did get some ticket luck. And then I got a third from getting, I achieved 150 rainbow Mindini medals. So I was able to get a third that way. So now he's sitting I've got 3 pulls, and so he's sitting at 2 hearts. Yeah, I failed to mention that I did actually get only 1 copy of Perry. So I didn't have much luck with the twins pulls, but I got like some other S units. Like I got that gold slime. I got another one of him, and I forget what else I got. I don't think there was anything else. I think everything else is something I already had maxed out. So I just got the 1 Perry and like 1 gold slime from those pulls. So not really that lucky, but again, you're guaranteed at least one of them. So that's pretty cool.
I would have liked to have at least gotten the A rank. That also would have been nice, because no A rank luck. But
I got him off of tickets. The mad
Nice.
looking dragon, the red dragon dude, right? I forget what his name is, but yeah.
Yeah, good for you. That's a nice thing. So, in addition to all this, we got a revival of S-Stark, which you mentioned, to commemorate his new blossom. I didn't have to scout the dude, though, since I already had him at 5 hearts.
Oh, look at you. And you know what? Let me tell you, he is one big beefy boy now. Amazing endurance and Zam power. With him, Blossom doors 43 through 50 are significantly easier according to the guides that I've seen. I'm working on his Blossom right now, and I can't wait to use him later this month on those Blossom doors, because some of them, holy crap, they are a pain in the butt later on. And to have someone that's going to like have the amount of turns to get through this stuff will be great.
Well, let me know when somebody makes Blossoming Door 42 easier, because I have to do that one again this month, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Oh, which one is that? I can't remember off the top of my head.
42. Well, it's the one that I spent over 2 hours on across 2 days before I was finally able to beat it, and it just totally sucks. The enemies
is that the ice one?
Yeah, it was the ice one. The enemies always move a different way, even if you get the turn order right. Like, oh my god.
Oh, I hated that one because like we were trying to tell you, it's like, oh, like you can take away the perks now and adjust agilities and things like that. But you came back at us and was like, look, yeah, I can get the turn order and the agility eventually correct, but then the monsters don't move exactly the way that they do in the guide, and it screws everything up, because if they don't move exactly how they do in the guide, then it completely destroys that strategy and you're screwed. I remember struggling with that one myself before I finally found one that either A, the monster decided to turn left instead of right, because sometimes it seems to be random, or B, I found one that was different that I was able to get through it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I hated that one. I'm far enough along now that I don't have to do that one ever again, as long as I get to at least 49. I can get to 50, sometimes I don't bother, but as long as I get to at least 49, I don't have to worry about it, and I never want to see that one again.
Yeah, I'm glad you don't have to deal with it. But yeah, it's a weakness of the Blossoming Doors. Like, something I've always hated about them is just like one little thing goes wrong, and then it's like no longer possible to win with that team. Conditions just have to line up this one very exact way. That's not a fun way to play. A few people who are ridiculously patient figure out ways to do it and make videos, then everyone else just has to follow a video. Like, there's no room for improv, or at least not very much, unless you are ridiculously patient.
Right, or ridiculously skilled, which I don't think either of us are in that category.
Yeah, I can't say that I am, but I mean, I'm sure even for like the higher skill members of our guild, it's still going to take them a long time to figure out a fresh strategy.
Especially for like the very highest level difficulty difficulty of some of these missions, or these boards, I mean.
Yep. So anyway, getting back to S-Arc, I haven't maxed mine out yet. Like I unlocked all the things. He was at S7, so now I put him at S8. So I'm just going to be leveling him up organically and getting the points to max out his little skills that way.
Nice.
Speaking of tough stuff, you know what wasn't significantly easier this time around?
What's that?
Our latest guild tournament.
Oh man, that's for sure. Our new full team of 20 got thrown right into the fire as our first match was against the indomitable Starfall, the toughest guild in the game. Or at least it was was it our first or a second outright out the bat? I can't remember.
It was one of those two for sure. And
yeah, it was like the opening round of qualifiers, one of the first two matches. So it was like, hey, good luck.
Yeah, and I mean, like when we see them, it's just like, oh boy, today's not going to be a fun day. And
no,
it wasn't. We put up a good fight, but once we lost a key fight, it was all over.
We were able to win out besides that matchup, so we ended up in the second highest tournament, the Platinum League.
Some poor guild had to match up with us twice in the qualifiers leading up to it.
I know, and I had never seen that before, at least with our guild. But I did talk with my old guild, DQ Den, and apparently it has happened to them before on multiple occasions.
Poor dudes. As it turns out, after the first two qualifier matches, opponents are reconfigured based on the results of those first two matches.
And man, I'd be pissed if I were them, as we pretty much whomped them both times.
It was probably good for their character. Anyway, in the Platinum League, we were tested to our limits once again as we faced off with Arena Watch as one of our opponents.
Another valiant effort against the second toughest guild in the game, who we are apparently a farm team for, as we have joked about in the past.
Yeah, I mean, not a big fan of that guild for that exact reason, but also they're not fun to go up against. Like, it's not impossible for us to beat them, but yeah, we might need a few different guild members for it to actually ever happen. Anyway,
beef up.
It would be nice if they would.
We got to take the members we got. We got to do some exercises. We got to do some pull-ups. Got some push-ups. Got some sit-ups. Got to beat those guys up, and we'll be good to go.
How are we going to do that when they're always running errands? Besides our AW loss, though, we did win out against everyone else, so we were able to take second place in the tournament.
Another big tournament we just wrapped up as well is one of my favorites. The Guild Co-op Battle Mega Boss Battle S-Tark.
Try saying that 3 times fast. Just like the last Mega Boss Battle, Captain Pendy, that's you, I think, helped coach us through this joint effort to take down a giant-sized S-Tark in all his various stages of difficulty.
I had another Excel spreadsheet, aka the one I had from before, and just made a new tab where I kept track of everyone's scores and tried to direct people the best I could to take S-Tark down in the most efficient way possible. We had some medium and big hitters and some people who played the role of cleanup if we needed a smaller amount of HP to be taken out without wasting a big hitter's turn.
So we finished in 8th place, only a few places off from last time.
That's right. Being in the top 10 got each guild the best rewards of 5,000 gems in the title of Lord of the Underworld Conqueror. We didn't have as many heavy hitters as we did last time, so I'm still happy with how we placed.
Yeah, we could discuss that a little bit. A lot of times everybody in the guild is doing their thing well, and even in, say, like guild tournaments, pretty much everybody does what is expected of them. So you don't really get to notice who just has like pretty poor boxes or just kind of doesn't know what they're doing equipment-wise or things like that. But yeah, this guild mega boss battle, we had, what would you say, like maybe four guys, something like that. And like their numbers were different, weren't they? That's why we came in a lower place overall, because we have some people who just didn't do the same level of preparation that the rest of us did, which, in their defense, maybe they just couldn't afford it. But I think some of it is just like planning that maybe didn't happen.
Part of that was unfortunately losing out on Pix, who was one of our surprisingly big heavy hitters, at least a medium-sized hitter in the last time that we did this. Due to life circumstances, she kind of had to go back from the game a little bit, spend some more time doing other things, and she went down to, of her own volition, wanted to go down to Aces 2 to be in a more relaxed environment. But I saw in Aces 2, she was one of the biggest heavy hitters that they had, and she was still racking in those points. So that hurt as well, because we didn't get someone that had her equivalent points that she had last time. So I noticed that. And to your point about some people with equipment, I'm not going to say who. I don't want to call people out for this kind of thing, but
Yeah.
I remember that someone was saying that like, hey, I've got the miracle sword, but I never ended up rolling it for HP, and we're like, ooh,
Yeah,
that
like even
that is going to hurt you so much in any kind of advanced setup that you're trying to do for a lot of these strategies. And I was like, oh my god, that's not good. And and again, in his defense, he's like, yeah, sorry, it was just during a time where I didn't have a lot of stuff and materials going on to do it. But yeah, you just gotta in this guild that we got, you gotta do stuff like that to make yourself a viable person in those types of things.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, everybody needs to maintain certain standards, and on the other hand, we could do a little more at reminding everybody of what they need to do, because like
true.
I'm super busy, and the other officers, I mean, you're fairly busy. Like all of our officers are decently busy, so we don't have a lot of time to remind the people who aren't paying attention, I guess, about what they should be doing sometimes.
And you've reminded me about that in the past, like, hey, when something like this comes up, we gotta remind everybody about this, because some people just forget, and that's fine. Even I forget about stuff, and I gotta remember that when I see things that like, oh, this would be useful, I gotta tell, like, not just keep it to myself, but like tell everybody else about it in the Discord and be like, hey guys, just so you know, like a good example of that saved ourselves in this mega boss battle tournament was that we had daylight savings time that happened in the middle of it. Not everyone remembered that, like, oh hey, technically I have one less hour than I usually do, and thankfully, because I was able to remind everybody, we still all got our battles in before the reset.
Yeah, so that was a very good thing. Thank goodness.
Yeah, but yeah, it's on us too that we need to do a better job of like giving advice about like, hey, this is going to be a key weapon or key piece of equipment that you need to make sure that you put some materials into. Make sure you do this, that, or the other thing. So that's something that we as regular guild members could do as well to help everybody out.
We shall have to keep it in mind.
Yes.
I should point out that within our guild for this Mega Boss battle, I finished 7th with about 100,000 points ahead of you, actually.
Look at you with your big old score. Now, granted, some of my lost points can be attributed to taking down an earlier advanced Estark that had 1 million HP left when I could easily do 1.2 million at the time. But, I'll let you have this win this time.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, buddy. I also appreciate, though, that this Mega Boss battle didn't drag on forever, because the last one took 16 days, and we were all sick of it by the end. Like, I was truly sick of it. This one was only 9 days, and it was getting old, but we did it.
As much as I really enjoy the Mega Boss battle, this is like one of the favorite things that I have in this game, I also thought that this was good too. I think it lasted just the right amount of days, because man, did that last one, even for me, as much as I enjoy it, just dragged on forever. Once we were getting to like day 13, I'm like, when is this going to end?
Yeah, it's like we got the idea already. We're just doing the same thing.
We're good.
What do you think about the difficulty this time?
It was certainly ramped up quite a bit more. Unlike in the last Mega Boss battle, you really had to worry about critical hits this time from the boss. A well-placed critical hit from Estark could completely ruin your entire strategy and ruin your score. We did execute some quality saves when this happened, and sometimes even myself had to be saved at least once during this. I had to get saved. Oh, and our vaunted leader Mesmeron also had to be saved. So we're just falling left and right on these major critical hits, and we had to save people sometimes.
That's true. He had to wait so long for us to do enough damage to save him.
One of the first people out the gate on like a fresh Estark, and he's like, oh shit, I got a critical hit on turn 1. Can someone help me? But we needed like 12, 13 people to go before we could finally save him, and it like went into like the next day.
Yeah, like I even did my highest damage ever for that difficulty, but still it was just a drop in the bucket with how much health he had.
That was really good, and this is why we tried to pursue saving people sometimes, is because like the way he probably would have gotten around like maybe 700k damage, but with him being able to reset and start over, he got 1.4 mil. Like, he doubled what he probably would have gotten, so that was great.
Indeed it was. So yeah, it was good to see that we could save some people like that. I didn't actually need any saving this time. Like I didn't have any really bad crits where somebody died in the first turn or two or anything like that. As far as saving people goes, you could pause or close your game, and if other people were able to defeat the current mega boss in your absence, then your turn would be restored to you. You'd get another shot at it. So that's how we were able to do that.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of us would rely on the Japanese guides that had good strategies to take Estark out. It worked out pretty well until we got to the EX stage.
Indeed, some of the EX guides were pretty bad, and a lot of them relied on luck.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. What I thought was going to be our great guide for 1.25 million a pop was total bunk. It relied on Estark missing hits, the player getting critical hits against his minions, and players scoring random follow-up attacks. If any of these three circumstances didn't happen perfectly, then your characters would die and completely ruin it all. I had to move on to a lower scoring strategy because it was just that bad.
One thing that's been great lately is the quality of life perks that we got with the latest update.
Some of them are fantastic. Being able to auto battle 100 times instead of 60, being able to alchemize equipment 25 times at once instead of 5, and removing bonus perks from your characters.
The perks removal is interesting. Some people were confused on why that would be useful. Why would you do it?
Basically, there are a lot of strategies that revolve around turn order and speed. So if some characters get too many hearts and get too fast, it can completely blow up a strategy.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of Blossoming Door videos, especially Japanese videos, tend to have low awakenings on characters. And if you're actually a competitive player, you're going to have higher awakenings than them. So this has been a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But now we get the option of removing perks. And there are only so many pieces of equipment that can reduce agility in the first place. There's only like 3.
Yeah, and that's where removing an agility perk can come into play. It can be surprisingly useful.
Yeah, I like the option of removing perks, but I wish there was a way to globally restore all of your perks, because it's easy to forget to turn the perks back on, and then your unit ends up being unintentionally weakened during future fights. Now then, another new feature is the Treasures and Trapdoors, or TNT game. Styled after the same minigame featured in the Super Famicom and Game Boy Color remakes of Dragon Quest III and all the Dragon Quest V remakes, this board game has you roll dice to move along a board.
Each board has a main level where you need to roll an exact dice roll to land on the goal and win prizes, fabulous prizes. Once you reach the goal, there are 3 additional bonus levels you can try to get through as well.
Yeah, which are basically like just a new board you go to, and there's different spaces to land on, different prizes you can win from those different bonus level boards. The boards themselves consist of squares that have pots, drawers, and treasure chests where you can win items. Many squares feature grasslands, hills, or mountains, and there, when you land on one of those, then you'll either encounter monsters, or you may find a little item like a hero pearl or something, or you may just find nothing.
There are also special squares that have boss fights and a roulette wheel. You can win gems or even an extremely rare free S-rank character card.
And of course, there are squares that can move you forward, give you extra dice rolls, take dice rolls away, and even the infamous trapdoor that will end your game immediately. Glad I didn't land on that one.
Not yet, anyways. Give it time.
Boy.
One of the best prizes in this game are the accessories. All characters in Tact now have a new accessory slot.
That's right. And for now, the TNT boards are the only place to get those accessories.
Some of them are great, too. For example, there's a bracelet that not only gives who you equip added agility, you can roll it to potentially give your whole team an agility bonus.
Yeah, and bracelets are round, so they roll very easily. There are also several rings and earrings that help protect against certain status changes or elements.
Man, I love my new ring that guards against confusion. I have had immediate results with it in real-time arena, where it helped my Dragonoid Baran to avoid getting confused so easily, as he usually does. But now sometimes I can avoid it.
Nice. There are 3 levels of difficulty for the 3 different TNT boards we have right now, so that's sort of like 9 different ways to play. Mm-hmm. Each difficulty level for every board type has their own unique 5 treasure chests to find, so you have incentive to play all 3 difficulty levels, even easy, even if you're strong enough to do the higher stuff.
Yes, some of them even have mini medals. I've yet to get any of those, though, and, I've had a lot of fun trying out these 3 different boards that we have so far, and supposedly in the future, there'll be guild-level rewards for playing them, too. That will be interesting to see what that is about.
Indeed. I actually had never played a TNT board in a previous Dragon Quest game that I can recall, because the version of Dragon Quest III that I played all the way through was the mobile version, which unfortunately took the feature out.
I know, I hate that so much.
Yeah, and I played a little bit of the Game Boy Color version, but I didn't get far enough to actually encounter one. Then Dragon Quest V, also I played on DS, but I didn't get far enough to encounter it. So shame on me for that. And
and before you get into the next thing,
yeah?
I almost forgot to mention that what's very interesting about this, which is unique to Tact, Tact is that, of course, with Tact, we have, our team of monsters and characters. So each time you get into a fight, once you use that monster or character, then it's done. Like, you can't use it again. So especially with the harder difficulty levels, you really have to strategize like who you're going to save for the future fights that you might get into. And all the boards are basically kind of themed with what kind of things that the monsters are weak to. So you have to come in with, sometimes with the harder ones, you have to come in with certain monsters that are good with going against that elemental weakness, but also are good against defending against certain elements. Thankfully, there's some good guides out there for it. But yeah, it can get tricky in those later levels considering going with that. And you don't know exactly who you're going to find every time. It's random, like what level of difficulty you're going to fight. Now, it's going to be a certain range, but like say for just like the hard level difficulty board, you may get a fight that's like considered 8,000 CP strong. But then again, your next fight might be randomly 12,000 CP strong. It can vary somewhat wildly from fight to fight. It can be interesting with what you need to do as you're losing monsters as you do each fight.
Yeah, I like that element of it. I don't want to have to worry about resistances too much. Like that kind of scared me from even trying the mode at first, seeing all that talk. But if you're playing on easy or normal, you can pretty much just not worry about that aspect of it. Just make sure that your monsters are strong enough, and that's good enough. Like you can click recommended, and it just fills out your team. Like, do you want it to be D rank enemies or monsters, C rank or whatever? Just pick recommended. It gives you a team that, as long as you picked the right rank, they'll be able to easily take out almost any enemy for that difficulty level. So I like that feature of it. Like, you don't have to micromanage as much as I thought you would. Like, basically only on very hard, right?
Yeah, only on very hard you really have to really worry about strategizing well on that one, because then you can get up to what I think like 25,000, maybe even 30,000 in the very advanced levels, because there's like super boss fights later on in the bonus levels as well. So you got to really strategize, and that's where you get like in a 10,000 CP fight. I'm like, oh, that's not so bad. And then like the next fight will be like a 20,000 CP fight. I'm like, oh my god, I actually have to try for this one. But yeah, like the elemental weaknesses, at least it's consistent throughout the entire board. So it'll tell you like, hey, the vast majority of monsters in here are going to be weak to bang, for example. So it's not too bad.
That is true. But as far as the enemies being surprisingly difficult, like the very first time I played very hard, I thought that just having mostly A rank units in the party and one S rank would be good enough, but it wasn't. Like they stomped us. So yeah, it actually messed up my run.
There, yeah.
That the frustrating thing is that you're only given 2 tickets a week to be able to play the mode. So yeah, we got a few extra ones when they introduced it, but basically you get to play it twice a week. And depending on how your runs go, you like say for instance you're trying to get the S rank accessory for that particular board, because I'm missing one of them. Well, I mean, it could take me 8 tries to be able to get that. So for for 1 week I could get nothing because I just got bad rolls, So the limited nature of it, I mean, it needs to work that way for Tact, but I kind of wish there was a way that you could financially overcome that, like buy extra tickets or something.
Yeah, that makes, I understand where you're coming from on that. And that's where, if you have the box to do it, it's a very good idea to try to invest in going after those very hard difficulty boards, because if you can just get to the goal on the first stage, that's where you're most likely get your S accessories, because the harder the board is, the more likely you are to get the S accessories. So I've had a hell of a lot more luck trying to get S accessories on very hard as opposed to anything else. So I've done some very hard boards just to make sure that I could get at least a few of some of those really good S accessories, because especially that one that gives agility to your whole party, like, oh my god, that's a godsend.
Yeah,
RTA
wonderful
for me. So yeah,
and
I went after that right away.
Yeah, one other little thing I'm worried about is I used up all my tickets trying to go after that one accessory, because I feel like you need to have all 3 S accessories, right?
Mm-hmm.
But would it be better overall, or for the guild or for everyone, if we saved our chances to when they add that feature where doing it helps the guild? Now I'm afraid to do any more, because like, will I be shooting myself in the foot by doing that, or will I be shooting the guild in the foot? I don't know if people are saving their tickets or not.
Yeah, that'd be worth researching, because to be honest with you, I don't know what the guild awards are for doing that. I've just heard from other people people in our guild like, oh yeah, and it kind of previews it, but we don't know exactly when they're going to institute it, and we don't know yet, at least you and I don't know yet, like what exactly are going to be the rewards. So it'll be interesting to see what that's going to be. And as far as only getting like 2 tries per week, basically, considering it's permanent content, it's not temporary content, I think that's all right. Like when this first came out, I think you'll be able to buy extra tickets with non-paid gems in the Buy Handy item shop once a month. And I would bet money that future event shops would probably have them available as well. But I don't know enough about what's been going on the Japan side of things to know if that's the case or not.
Fair enough. Yeah, if they do things like that, it'll be cool. Because, like I said, it's just like if you have some particular goal in mind, it's true that it's not going anywhere, so you'll get to try every single week. But if you're looking forward to it in a particular week and then you just have bad dice rolls, then it's a bust, and that can be a little bit of a shame.
Oh, that's true. I mean, this is fun, but RNG heavy as all get out.
Oh, yes. So you're at their mercy. Like sometimes I'll get to the end really quickly, and then I may never get a roll that allows me to actually land on that end piece, and so then like that kind of run typically is a bust. Oh, well. Now then, before we get into the die portion of the show, it's time for the Tact tip of the day.
Tip of the day.
Tip of the day to you. Did you know that you can remove perks from any of your characters? Hey, we mentioned that earlier.
That's right, tacticians. Removing some of these perks may help you with certain strategies.
But be warned, fellow tactic fanatics, if you remove a perk for a battle, it will stay that way until you manually restore it.
That's amazingly good to know. That was our tip of the tact tip of the day. Now let's get into some die.
Every week, we're going to review 2 episodes from the newest Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai anime.
We'll also get into other Dai-related news, such as the already released Dai console game, merchandise, and whatever else we find in the world of Dai.
Yeah, which reminds me, I need to play more of that. I got to chapter 6 and just pretty close to finishing.
Nice. Oh. I am done with I'm not done with the game. I have completed the game, rolled credits, and I am now in the midst of the extra bonus content at the end where you go through the extra hard levels, and they are kicking my ass.
Sounds like fun, I hope. But let's talk about Dai episode 49, The Team Battle Begins. In this episode, our team of heroes battles Hadlar's Royal Guard in an explosive battle of strength and wits. At first, Dai and company try to match up with enemies that have similar abilities, but they soon realize that they're outmatched. Even worse, Dai can't convince his sword to unsheath. What a goofy limitation. After a surprise save from Nova, Dai and his friends switch gears by trying to fight more strategically. Mom is sent to use her speed against the slow-moving Rook, while Crocodile is sent to overpower the fast-moving Knight. Crocodile unleashes the fruits of his new training with a double blast of power called the Beast King Indomitable Blast. After Crocodile removes the Knight's spell shield, the heroes manage to corral the villains into one area, and then Pop hits them with his Medroa spell, a powerful combination of fire and ice magic.
Oh man, it's showdown at the OK Carl Kingdom Corral! They even had the classic stare down. This was a fun episode of 5 heroes versus 5 villains, all going at it. It also features the return of the completely awkward computer animation. I can see why they used it, especially in scenes where all 10 people are pretty much fighting at once. It just, as it usually does, it just looks somewhat out of place compared to the regular animation. Yep. Despite that, this one still has some really good action scenes. And also, clearly the pawn has more of an independent spirit than the rest of the chess pieces, which will come into play later. And I really loved seeing Crocodine's new ability. It looks great, and I love how he brought it out to defeat the Knight. Definitely the highlight of the episode for me. On a side note, this episode had one of the few pieces of awkward dialogue, as far as I'm concerned, in the dub here. At the very end of the episode, in the sub, Pop says, "One good hit with that," and then they pause and they see the destruction that his Medroa just brought, and we win. Cool. Makes sense. It flows correctly. However, the dub line is, "One hit with the Medroa, the end." It's a lot more awkward. I understand why, because the last line is so short and it would be hard to fit more than 2 short English words there in the mouth flaps, but it's so awkward and it doesn't flow at all. One hit with Medroa, The end. It's just weird.
Man, that line's really growing on me. But actually, we ended up watching this episode in subtitled. We didn't even bother with the dub because there's no more dubbed episodes to watch on Vudu, that is. And I don't want to subscribe to Hulu just yet. I'll wait for the right moment.
Gotcha.
So we ended up just watching it on Crunchyroll. I have Crunchyroll. Might as well watch it there. Yeah, we missed out on the dub. However, quick note, hearing the songs in Japanese, the ending song in Japanese is so much better. Like the English singer he just doesn't do as good a job. But it's not a great song no matter what, but at least it's better in Japanese. That's all I have to say about that.
Gotcha.
So in the beginning of this episode, when all the heroes have arrived and they're about to confidently take on their opponents, I knew they were going to get whooped. It's like, look how confident they are. They're going to get whooped. That's this style of storytelling for you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like seeing Crocodile get beaten so handily by the Rook either.
Oh my God, he got destroyed at first. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's like, because Crocodile is not human, they love to just take the wind out of him, so he doesn't deserve it though. He's actually a really tough character if they use him properly. Thankfully, the good guys turn things around pretty quickly by switching up their tactics though. The villains are so full of themselves, it's nice to see the good guys gain the upper hand, even if their victory isn't as decisive as it seems.
So next is episode 50. We're the Beast King Commandos. In this episode, Chu enlists the help of his Beast King Commandos to find the secret entrance to Dark King Vern's palace. His newly recruited sea slime successfully finds the underwater gate, but the Bishop of Hadlar's Royal Guard intercepts Chu and his team, preventing them from escaping back to Dai and his friends. The Bishop, Fenbren, admits to reveling in the torture of his enemies and starts to do so with Chu rather than finishing him off quickly. This sets off Gome-chan, who is able to mysteriously power up and ram into Fenbren, putting a dent into the side of his head. The dent enrages the Bishop, who goes to retaliate against the passed out Gome-chan. Chu and the rest of his team quickly fall on top of Gome-chan to save him. Before the Bishop can finish them all off, someone steps forward and pierces the Bishop right through his head. Is it Pop, Hyunkel, and Crocodile, who had set out earlier to track down Chu? No, it's actually Baran, disgusted by someone so strong picking on someone so weak. What is Baran doing there? We'll find out next episode.
Wow, what an exciting episode. As soon as Hadlar reveals that he sent Fenbren after a rat, I got worried. and then what do you know? Not only is Chu sneaking around the field of death, but he's got Gome-chan, the lovable pterodactyl, and an incredibly cute sea slime with him. I was just dreading what the Bishop would do to them, and it was indeed painful to watch Chu and the others take such a harsh beating.
Mm-hmm.
Chu is wonderfully heroic in this episode, though, instead of being used for only comic relief like he normally is. With shonen shows like Adventure of Dai, Chu's defense of his friends could have been the end of the character, sending him out on a high note. Thankfully, the original writer chose to save the monsters in the end, which fits the tone of the show better than allowing Chu to be murdered.
Yeah, that would have been awful. I would have been, what are you doing? How could you murder Chu? Poor little rat.
Yeah, exactly. But there's so many shows of this genre where that kind of thing happens.
That's true.
It also reminds me of Full Metal Alchemist. There's a really lovable character in Full Metal Alchemist, and he dies pretty early, episode 17 or something. And you just know they're sending him out very heroically, but it's still just so painful to watch it happen.
Oh no, the guy with the glasses who is a father?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. One of the alchemists. Yeah, that was so sad.
Indeed. And I've seen it in the live action movie. I've seen it in both of the Full Metal Alchemist anime series. It always makes me cry. It's just so terrible because he's one of my absolute favorite characters.
No, I understand.
Nobody loves Chu quite that much, I'm sure, but still, he really does a great job in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah, and I enjoyed seeing Gome-chan actually pitch in meaningfully to the fight, though the mysterious attack didn't stop Fenbren for very long. Also, I look forward to discovering how the heroes will get through that undersea gate that's supposedly impossible to open. Learning that the bad guys just get in and out via Zoom spells and enchantments was a cool touch.
No, I agree. And, this was an episode where, as you said, Chu really got to shine, and I really enjoyed it. I loved his team of Beast King Commandos, and we get to have more interactions with classic Dragon Quest monsters because of it. So that's always great. Chu and Gome-chan once again proved to be great partners, and how much I enjoyed their interactions with each other. And I was legitimately fearful for Chu's team, and I'm glad they all survived. I also loved where Mam gives it to Nova for being so annoyingly dour and hopeless. She just snaps him right out of it. It's like, she hurts him somehow really bad. And she's like, oh, you can stand up now, huh? Well, how about you go help out?
Yeah, like she twists his arm or something.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great moment for her. And Baran being a badass at the end of the episode was a great touch too. His sword right through Fenbren's face, blinding him, was brutal. But of course, I don't feel sorry for him, considering what a true monster that the bishop really is.
Yeah, it's nice when they make an enemy such a jerk like that, and then you get to see what's coming to him. That's always nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I also noticed it's hard to hate Nova now that he has been sufficiently humbled, and he actually seems to have learned from Mom's reprimand. So,
oh no, I agree. He's learning from his mistakes and from his his poor attitude from before. So it's nice to see.
Indeed, because right at first, like I just would have been happy for him to actually get killed off, but now they're redeeming him.
Yes, exactly. So before we go, I figured I'd talk about some great Dai merchandise that arrived at my place in the last few days.
Oh, did you finally take the plunge and get that mom body pillow that you've been eyeing for so long?
Ha 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 ha. Very funny. It's not like that really exists. Yeah. So, oh geez, it does. Damn it, Japan.
Hey man, everybody needs pillows. I'm not going to judge you. So what did you actually get though?
So from CD Japan, I was able to snag the Infinity Strash guidebook and the 1-year anniversary guidebook for the Crossblade card battle arcade game.
How cool. And don't feel bad, I say X-Cross too. Anyway, what did you think of the book?
Of course, I don't know Japanese, so I can't read a word of either of the books, but they both have very nice art throughout, so it was fun to see that. I get to look at the pictures. But it was also fun to see the various cards that have come out for the Crossblade arcade game. The book even came with 2 bonus cards that can be used in the game. Not that I'll be using them anytime soon, but it's nice to have as a collector's item.
Yeah, sounds like a cool book. Maybe next time you can finally tell us about the Dragon Quest box set that you got so long ago.
Maybe, one day, perhaps.
That's all for this episode of Slime Time Tactfully Dai. If you want to prepare for the next episode, be sure to watch episodes 51 and 52 of The Adventure of Dai, subtitled on Crunchyroll or dubbed on Hulu. These episodes are not available on Vudu, the Microsoft Store, or Hoopla, sadly.
Yeah. We're a non-profit podcast. We won't strash your hard-earned gold when we can offer you quality content for free. But if you do have some extra gold that's just completely burning a hole in your wallet, pouch, bottomless bag, treasure chest, or searchable wall sack, and you would like to donate anything to a website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 25 years, stop by the Dragon's Den by clicking the link in the show notes. There are several ways to support the Den, including the affiliate links that don't cost you anything extra when making Dragon Quest or other purchases.
We even have a Slime Time t-shirt that was designed by our resident artist, Twain. See the link for it in the show notes.
As part of the Slime Time Extended Universe, or STU, you can direct comments or questions for the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slime Time.
And you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/EastX Twitch. Come watch me play a variety of games every Saturday, kids.
Join in tons of Dragon Quest discussion at the Dragon's Den forums or Discord, and the Dragon Questers Infinity Strash and Dragon Quest Tact global Facebook groups.
We'd like to thank everyone that made this possible, including you, Pendy, Woodus, the Dragon's Den, and Lurch from the Addams Family. You rang.
Dun, dun, dun. Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast.
We'll catch you later, everybody. Don't hate, appreciate.
Time to zoom on out of here.
Lately days are getting dark before you've had a chance. But remind yourself the truth can be a never-ending task. Even now, with what we've got, how far can we go until it's gone? Sometimes I swear I hear a voice knock, no one's in the other room. All alone I thought I had an angel, someone keeping an eye on me. Even love will turn to dust. I can't help but be proud of how far we've come. But I don't plan on backing down or letting my guard down, 'cause I knew a test would someday come my way. So I made a promise to...
This is Goochtrude for Slime Time, reminding you all that you must complete your adventure.